Welcome everyone. This is Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Rearden and I will be your Mindset Coach today. And today we're going to be talking about the aspect of spirituality and spiritual transcendence. We have come a long way when it comes to who we are as people and then the understanding of us. Religion was once a big thing in life where people would focus on religion, on a higher power. But today, we have the aspect of why would a higher power allow us to, be at war and to harm each other and to go through all of this struggle? Why would they not come save us? And oftentimes I think about that because we think about this being, the spiritual higher power. We could think of even an afterlife, a spiritual sense of who we are as people, the spirit of someone. What does that mean? We all have different definitions of it. Of course, you can find a congregation, a church, a ministry, and you can, be in tune with everybody, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have the same type of beliefs and patterns that they do. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the spiritual senses that we can be going through in our mindset. And of course, this is going to be a TUS series. I know that the last episode with the positive and negative aspect of life and everything was definitely a mindset episode, but we talked about it a good bit already. But today is going to be something where you have to differentiate what you believe. This is not an episode where I'm trying to convert you. You can be whatever you want. You could be Catholic, you could be Baptist, you can be Pentecostal, you could be an atheist, you can be whatever you want, right? You could be a Buddhist. There's a lot of different things. I don't know them all. You can choose. And I'm not saying choose one of those religions. I'm saying you get to choose what you believe. Sometimes in life, you're going to choose to believe that you can't do something. Sometimes in life, you're going to believe that you can do something. Which one is right? Sometimes in life, you're going to give yourself this aspect and this idea of being better and stronger and everything than you are right now. But then sometimes in life, you're going to say, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm done. I'm tired. You don't want to keep fighting. Either or. We get to make a choice. And sometimes when we give ourselves an idea of a higher power, something else out there, it can give us more meaning, more fulfillment in life. But there's going to be different paths and different nuances that we can go down on our road to figure out what is going to be for us. But before we do that, let's take a look at my most recent blog. All right, everyone. If you're new to the podcast, new to the channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and to share the video and or audio to help build a community of individuals who are looking to understand more about life. And life does not have any meaning. And I know that's hard to accept, but somewhere in life, we have the opportunity to create meaning. Some people are not going to achieve any meaning in their life. Not saying that they were the only benefactors to the idea and the definition of meaning. For example, a baby that is born, maybe prematurely, and the likelihood and the probability that they have to live longer, it might not be long, right? Because they tried everything and you're not able to save everyone at all times, right? Whether it be for sicknesses like cancer, etc., car accidents, things along those lines. Things can happen all of a sudden. Something happens in that moment. We're able to figure out if we're going to go down this path and this road of saying, you know what? That person, that moment, it was insignificant. However, we can give any moment as much significance as we want. I want you to think about that. Any moment you can give as much significance as you want. That means if you are walking down the aisle for marriage, for graduation, whatever, how significant is that moment for you? It might depend on your journey. But what I can tell you is it's a mindset thing. Because we can stew in negativity, we can stew in positivity, and we can reside in these places. But when you're walking down, or if you're going through a moment, you can think about all the hardship, all the long nights and everything, and you can be filled with emotion. tears of joy can be rolling down your face, or maybe tears of relief, whatever those tears can mean to you. But it means something. You gave significance to that moment. Then there's people who are just happy that they're done with school. High school graduation is giving my degree, I'm done. Not everyone is like that. Some people are so happy that they accomplished this because maybe they were the first ones in their family to do so. Not everyone has had a wonderful life and a wonderful upbringing. Some people had to give up some of the basic things that many of us take for granted. We have to give ourselves an understanding that everyone is on a different path. And in this blog, The Spiritual Transcendence, we're going to be talking, of course, about how spirituality is different from religion, and then the benefits of cultivating spiritual transcendence. I go into detail in the blog. I'm not going to do that in the podcast episode because I do want to have a different conversation. I love to have two different viewpoints when I'm trying to give you some, I guess you can say, information that can be a bit complicated when dealing with religion, spirituality, people's beliefs, thoughts, opinions. There's a lot going on. What is for you might not be for me, and vice versa, or for other people. So we do have to look at different angles. I'm not going to be able to go to every angle, of course, because this is just one episode. At least we can begin the conversation that you can start to look at the different nuances of what's happening in your life and in the world. Because we can say that, science is king, and the reason why we have the world we have today is because of the Big Bang. Then we can have people who believe that God was the one who created the world in 7 days, and we can have that belief. And everything that is good and everything that is great, we can say that this is the reason why we're here. But then we have to also look at the side of, well, if there is a higher power, if there are miracles and things along those lines, why are there so many people suffering? Why are there so many people not finding true joy, happiness, fulfillment in life? There is an aspect to spirituality that if we can learn to embrace, and I'm not saying that we fall into it, but we understand it. And if we can understand it, then we can begin to implement it or move around it in a way that our life is going to be situated where we want it to be. There's a lot to it. It can be a bit complicated, and this read right here is going to hopefully help you along the way on that journey to help it become more simplified. Of course, if that's something that even after this read is not helping you, you're going to want to find a coach, a mentor, someone that you can speak with about different aspects. And it's not only about a God, a deity, a faith, a higher power. It's not only about that. It's about you and what you're capable of. So as I said, it was just you. What are you able to do? Because if we look at the race of life, we all won. You did not just win the race of life to, be here and be miserable. We were all essentially a miracle. The odds for us to be here, not the best odds, but we made it. We all won that race. To have a chance at life, to have a chance to learn, to have a chance to feel, to experience the good and bad. Not every moment is going to be great. I understand that. That is life. We can experience this because we are alive. And the moment we're not able to experience things anymore is the moment that we are no longer here. We're dead. We have died. Many of us are afraid of death, actually, where you're afraid to relinquish your body. We're selfish. I don't want to give up my body. Okay, well, you don't want to give up your mind. Okay, well, you do it every day if you think about it. You give up your body. You go to work a 9 to 5 maybe. You work for a boss. You work for people that you don't cherish or you hold any affiliation for or allegiance to. You give your mind to people every single day, being negative, being complacent. And yet we worry about, the end of the road. Yet every single day we lose, not doing everything in our power to succeed and win. And win not only means be first in the race, it means that we have an opportunity to get to experience the race. There are some people who would give everything to have that moment, to have one more moment maybe. We have it, yet we squander it, yet we waste it. Why are we these people that will just forget how amazing our life is? And this is what spirituality can truly mean. There's something more than just waking up and going to work and making money and going to the grocery store and putting food in our mouth when we're hungry. I mean, we can go down that road. What about the things that we desire? Those things typically are always going to be on our mind when we daydream. We want a good life. We want maybe a nice house, a nice car, a nice family maybe, a good situation. But yet, even if we get that, are we truly happy? Or are we almost happy? Many people in life, they're always chasing something. They're chasing something that they believe is going to make them feel better. And this is even true for people who are in religions. They have this aspect of, I'm going to be the best apostle, the best disciple, the best servant I can be, because that's going to make me feel like I'm a better person. When really, you could be a terrible person even if you pray every single day, even if you do what you have to do in order to appease the deity that you're trying to give praise to. It doesn't make you a better person. Yet, in our mind, we think that we are saved simply because we look up. Yet many people were looking down. How we walk, how we're situated, how we talk to people, we look down. And I know I'm tall, so when I am talking to people, I'm always typically looking down to them. And it's always a pleasure when I find someone who's taller than me and I'm looking up to them or at eye level. And I go, oh, this is kind of weird, because I typically don't see people my height. I've learned something from that. I've learned that we all see the world in a different view. I can be tall. I see the world in a different view, different light per se. I know when I was younger, it doesn't happen as much when I'm older, because I think there's a level of respect that people have for adults instead of kids. Could be that, where people would say to me, hey, how's the weather up there? And I'm just thinking in my head, it's the same probably down there, but it's interesting. It was interesting that we can have that view. Just because someone sees different, they must have a different perspective. And we all typically do have a different perspective, but simply the moment that we're in, it doesn't necessarily mean we're always going to have a different perspective. Because let's give an example. Let's say I'm in church, or I'm in some type of service, some type of seminar, speech, or whatever, and someone is speaking to me. They're speaking to the room, right? They're speaking to the audience. And they're saying all of these wonderful things. Am I listening? Or am I trying to figure out, what am I going to do later? Or am I figuring out, is what they're saying full of, BS or whatever? I can be in that moment. Most people, they listen to respond. But when they have an opportunity to listen to understand, things start to move differently in their mind. When we start to look at the beauty of life, when's the last time you went outside and you just looked around, truly, just looked around? You looked at the clouds, you looked at maybe the birds flying, you maybe got stung by a bee. That happened to me the other day. I was like, man, I got stung by a bee and it's been ages. I probably was not stung by a bee since I was 11 or 12, and I'm 36. I got stung when I was 35. It was before my birthday. And I was like, that's crazy. I was like, I went all of this time without getting stung, and I got stung, and I was like, oh, I got stung. It wasn't pleasurable by any means, but it was interesting. I got to experience life again. I remember when I was young. How many times do we recall when we're young, when we're so busy as adults? I'm worrying about my kids, and I'm worrying about my family. I'm worried about what I have to do and my clients and everything. I forget who I was and who I'm becoming because I was so worried about where I am right now. And they say that the moment that we have is the only moment that matters. But every moment that we have had built us up to who we are. It's difficult for us to simply say that I'm going to not focus on the past. I'm only going to focus on the future. Because the past is already done. There is no power in relishing in that moment. Yet, for some reason, when we're closer to death and we have more days behind us than in front of us, we start to look at our past more than the moment, more than the future. My grandmother, she has a photo album of like my kid and like my sister's kid and probably of us and stuff like that. There's many photos, not only digital, like what the world is now. I print out all the photos. I make an album. I update the album, and she's able to look at these photos. And what I can tell is that something happens in the mind where it's not only about everything you have gone through. It's about what's to come. We don't see life for what it truly is anymore. When a baby is born, we don't see everything that baby can be. We're living in the moment. We think about what we have to do. Well, we got to get diapers. We got to get food. Oh, I want to get some sleep. The baby's crying again. It could be those moments. But if we pay attention, those moments are going to be the moments that we look back when they're, teenagers and they're, being rebellious and they're asking to borrow the car and they're running away. Maybe, I don't know. We start to pay attention a little bit more. The aspect of the spiritual transcendence is more than just, hey, I'm going to focus on a higher power, because the power is all around us. We are powerful. I'm not saying that we are omnipotent, but I'm saying that we have the power to have a good day or a bad day, to have a good life or not so good life. We have the power to pay attention or to not pay attention. Most people, when they walk outside, they walk to their car, they're just A to B. Let me go to work. They don't care how they feel, or maybe they are in pain. They let me take a Tylenol or an ibuprofen or something, and let me feel a bit better. Let me become clouded. Let me become stagnant. Let me not focus on the problems of my life right now. So I'm going to turn on the TV. I'm going to distract myself. I'm going to go on social media. I'm going to do on the death scrolls is what they call it. I'm going to death scroll. And I'm just going to do this for hours and hours and hours. And I'm not going to look for anything like fulfillment or a higher meaning in what I can do. You being on your phone, on TikTok and on YouTube, just scrolling for hours on end is not meaningful. You don't create meaning doing that. You might create complacency, but there is no meaning there. We forget to look up. I remember I was talking to my wife the other day, and it was because she loves to take hundreds of photos when she does a photo shoot, whether it be of her, of the kid, whatever. She's like, boop, 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 taking all these photos. And you know what's so funny is she's looking at the phone to get the best photo. And this is something I realized when I was a teacher, when I was in, at the front and I'm, with the kids and stuff like that. We're singing, doing our stuff. All the parents have their phones up, looking at their phone to make sure they get the best image so they can look at it later. And I'm not saying that that's not a good thing. But what I'm saying is if you just stop looking at the phone for a second, of course, the phone might go a little bit crooked. Now you're looking at your kid. Now you're making eye contact. That meaning that feeling that you're, being connected with them is so much stronger. There's something that happens in the world, right? There's different magnetisms. Think of it as a magnet, positive, negative. You can have a strong attraction to something, to a cause, a belief, right? There's something inside of you, maybe telling you to do something, right? Maybe you're a person that loves to go to a soup kitchen and make sure that you're taking care of people who are in need. You're maybe donating clothes. You're helping people who need help. All right. There's that aspect of who you are as a person. And it's not that you're trying to get on someone's good side, like, a deity, higher power, God, whatever, right? Whoever. You understand that this is for you. This makes you feel good. Your spirit, your character, your soul, whatever you want to consider it. Feels good when you do something good. Feels good when you do something that's in alignment. Yet we're living out of alignment. When is the last time you made sure you were on track? And today is going to be a great opportunity for you to check in with yourself and ask, am I on the right track? Am I doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing? You look at the things that you are doing and you ask yourself, is this beneficial to me? Now, I understand you might be doing things that you like, right? There's nothing wrong with living life like that. But then at the same time, life is not just a day or a moment. It's going to be a long period of time. And if you have been doing something for a very long time and you have not been seeing good results, or if it has not been uplifting you, it could benefit to maybe take a change or to look somewhere else for a moment. Because when someone is looking down at their phone and you just say, hey, look up, there's so much to see. Look at the birds, look at the skies, everything. Pay attention. And typically, it's in those moments where if we have enough of them, we get to experience life for what it truly is meant to be. In closing, the TUS that we have here, part 61, Spiritual Transcendence, is talking about how spirituality is different than religion. I know we didn't necessarily talk about religion today because this is not a blog or an episode about religion, but we're talking about how spiritual transcendence can benefit you, how it can help change your mindset, how these beliefs can instill something greater in you. The experiences that you have and that you had and that you will continue to have or that you will be having is going to be able to change everything, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. We get to choose exactly what that is for us. And we do it in a way where we don't know the outcome, but at least we understand the step that we take is in the direction that we are looking at. And that's the key. How can we continue to walk into a direction that we know is true for us? I can't tell you how many new clients are coming in and they're saying, hey, I want this, I want to do this. And I say, okay, well, what do you want? What do you want to do? Like, what's your passion? Like, what's your gift? Like, what's your genius? They're like, I don't know. People don't know who they are, but yet it just takes some time. It takes a bit of awareness. It could take a couple of months sometimes because we're trying to find the right thing, right? We have a lot to go through. Think of it as there's a lot of things in our mind. Think of it as a storage space where maybe you have a attic or a basement or a storage unit and you just kind of keep packing things in. And maybe there was something that you really liked that you still packed away because you have so much stuff already. And then maybe one day you have to clean out these units or areas and then you're like, whoa, I didn't know I had that, or I forgot I had this. And you start to appreciate it again. That can happen with life. You can learn to appreciate life. Life is not only about waking up every morning, going to work, and then, eating and then sleeping. It's so much more. Go outside, feel the sun. Go outside, look at the sky. I remember when I got my eye surgery and I was only like negative 1.5 on one eye and then like negative 1.75 in the other eye. And that's not bad, right? So I was nearsighted. I just couldn't see far. So I was like, well, I want to be able to see the world in a different lens than my contacts and then my glasses. So I said, I'm going to go for the surgery. And after the surgery, there was a long healing process for the PRK surgery that I did. I saw the world in 4K. And I say 4K, but it could have been HD. It could have been the highest quality of life, right? The reality. Like it seemed like a movie at the time because I was seeing things differently, cloudy, blurry. I started to appreciate everything a lot more. And sometimes I think back when I was able to see well and I looked at the sky and I can see the trees and I can see all the details, and I still do today. My eyes are still great, but I pay attention. I look at the clouds. I look at everything. And it's easy for me to, take pictures of the trees and of the sky and of the kids. And I'm like, oh, look at this. It's so nice. And I like to look back sometimes. I'm like, oh, look at this. It's so nice. But I don't forget to look up. And sometimes sometimes I see a smile from the kid or from, family, mom, dad, whatever, grandma. This is something I'm like, I want to take a picture, but I do it in a mental fashion. I say, I'm going to take a mental note of this, because that is what the aspect of the moment is. It's not always about, oh, wait, I got to get my phone. Oh, I have to take this. Oh, I have to believe this. We get to make adjustments as we move in life. Some people make adjustments for the better. Some people make adjustments for the worse. If you are going down that path downhill, I encourage you to stop, to reflect, and to understand, hey, if I'm going in this direction, do I need to make some adjustments? Do I need to save myself? And sometimes you're not going to be able to save yourself readily and easily. And that's when, of course, you're going to, inquire about some help, some assistance, whether it be a coach, mentor, or guide, someone along the way to help you figure out what life truly means for yourself. Because you can be perfectly content right now. And maybe if you kept this same life, you will be perfectly content later on too. That's fine. If you know that's true, then great. But for the people who have regrets in life, it's because they have not done something, or they have went down a path that they weren't true to. So find what your truth is and make sure that that truth and that meaning is not something that was given to you by someone else. It was something that you decided for yourself. And if that's the case, then there's not going to be regret. There's just going to be a learning lesson. And there's nothing wrong with learning in life, learning from trial and error. But if you are a person who is struggling to find it, that you have tried and tried again and again, and it seems to be almost impossible, reach out to us here at Reven Concepts. We'll love to talk to you about what's going on. It's easy. Check out the link in the description box below to be able to sign up, learn more about what we do, to check out this blog about spiritual transcendence, and then begin the aspect of learning how life can be filled with so much more than what it is filled with right now. Because we give life meaning, but yet the most meaningful lives will come when we begin to pay attention. My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, email me coachinginsession@gmail.com, and I'll see everyone on the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until then, everyone, take care.